Let us seek the Lord. Coming to you from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of Payne County, east of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Here in Let Us Seek the Lord, we go through the Bible about 3.5 years, taking one, sometimes two chapters a day, and then giving a short meditation on the glory of Christ afterwards. Today we're looking at Leviticus 14, and we are April the 10th. So let's get to reading. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "This shall be the law of the leper for the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall go out of the camp. The priest shall examine him, and indeed, if the leprosy is healed in the leper, then the priest shall command to take him who is to be cleansed 2 living and clean birds, cedar wood, scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, the cedar wood and the scarlet and the hyssop, and dip them in the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed from the leprosy, and he shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose in the open field. He who is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. After that he shall come into the camp, and they shall stay outside his tent 7 days. But on the 7th day he shall shave all the hair off his head, and his beard, his eyebrows, all his hair he shall shave off. He shall wash his clothes, and wash his body in water, and he shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs without blemish, 1 ewe lamb of the first year without blemish, 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, and 1 log of oil. Then the priest who makes him clean shall present the man who is to be made clean and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. And the priest shall make 1 male lamb and offer it as a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and weigh them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he'll kill the lamb in the place where he kills the sin offering and the burnt offering, in a holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so is the trespass offering. It's most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it onto the palm of his own left hand. Then the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle some of the oil with his finger 7 times before the Lord. And of the rest of the oil in his hand, the priest shall put some on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the blood of the trespass offering. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed. So the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord. Then the priest shall offer the sin offering and make atonement for him who is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. Afterwards he shall kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the grain offering on the altar. So the priest shall make atonement for him, and he shall be clean. But if he is poor and cannot afford it, then he shall take 1 male lamb as a trespass offering to be waved to make atonement for him. 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, a log of oil. And 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he's able to afford. One shall be a sin offering and the other a burnt offering. He shall bring them to the priest on the 8th day for his cleansing, to the door of the tabernacle of the meeting before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, and on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of the right foot. And the priest shall pour some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand. Then the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put some of the oil that is in his hand on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on the place where the place of the blood of the trespass offering. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand, he shall put on the head of him as to be cleansed, to make atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall offer one of the turtle doves or young pigeons, such as he can afford, such as he's able to afford, the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering with the grain offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him who is to be cleansed before the Lord. This is the law for one who had a leprous sore, who cannot afford the usual cleansing. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when you've come into the land of Canaan, and I give you a possession, and I put a leprous plague in a house in the land of your possession, and he who owns the house comes and tells the priest, saying, it seems to me that there's a plague in the house, then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest goes into it and examine the plague, that all that is in the house may not be made unclean. And afterward the priest shall go in and examine the house. He shall examine the plague, and indeed, if the plague is on the walls of the house, and with ingrained streaks, greenish or reddish, which appear deep in the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again on the 7th day and look, and indeed, if the plague is spread on the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which is the plague, and they shall cast them into an unclean place outside the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped inside all around, and the dust that they scrape off they shall pour out in an unclean place outside the city. Then they shall take the other stones and put them in the place of those stones, and they shall take other mortar and plaster the house. Now, if the plague comes back and breaks out in the house after he's taken away the stones, after he's scraped the house, after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look. And indeed, if the plague is spread in the house, it's an active leprosy in the house. It's unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones, its timbers, and all the plaster of the house, and he shall carry them outside the city to an unclean place. Moreover, he goes into the house at all while it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And he who lies down in the house shall wash his clothes, and he who eats in the house shall wash his clothes. But if the priest comes in, examines it, and indeed the plague has not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, cedarwood, scarlet, and hyssop. Then he shall kill one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water, and he shall take the cedarwood, the hyssop, the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and the running water, and the living bird, with the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the scarlet. Then he shall let the living bird loose outside the city in the open field, and make atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. This is the law for any leprous sore and scale, for the leprosy of a garment and of a house, for a swelling and a scab and a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it's clean. This is the law of leprosy. I lived for some years on the coast, southeast coast of the United States. And the area where I lived was always humid. It was just always like 95% humidity. And from May until the end of October, it was always at least 95 degrees every day as a high. And as a result, mold would often spread in houses if you didn't have them constantly air conditioned to take the moisture out of the house or treat it. And black mold became a real problem. And so we see the law of the leprosy here, both for a person's body as well as for the house. In relation to that, there's a spiritual type that's going on here, a symbolism. And let me illustrate it through John Newton. 2 years ago, I started reading volume 1 of the works of John Newton, haven't finished it yet. Newton's the one who wrote the hymn Amazing Grace. Newton's mother was a believer. She died before John reached the age of 7. His father, who was an unbeliever, remarried, and neither his father nor his stepmother were believers, even though they were moral people. His father was a sea merchant, and he tried to direct John in learning the skills of being a sea merchant, and he was left to his own concerning spirituality. John vacillated between trying to be a Christian and living the immoral life of a sailor. The leprous infection of sin took hold of his spiritual life. He wasn't a leper physically, but spiritually he was. At times, he desired the integrity of a godly life, but he constantly fell back into dissipation. I've not yet finished reading to his conversion point, but I know from the song Amazing Grace that it eventually happened. Well, the instruction here for the cleansed leper that's found in this chapter is such a picture of what happens when a sinner finds amazing grace. Only after 8 days of no leprous condition would the priest declare the lepers cleansed. Then a series of sacrifices were made in order to declare the miraculous cleansing. The ex-leper was to present himself to the Lord via the priests. The ritual was performed which spoke of his cleansing, the cleansing of his ears, that he would be listening from now on to what God has to say to him, the cleansing of his thumb, so that in all his works with his hands they would bring about holy results. The cleansing of his big toe, that wherever he walked would be in walks of holiness and not dissipation, as John Newton was prone to. The ex-leper was to present himself to the Lord via the priest. Then a ritual was performed which spoke of his cleansing. The ritual is a picture of the sacrifice of our Lord Jesus Christ and of his cleansing for our lives. Our baptism is like the ritual, which declares that we have died with Christ, we were buried with Christ, we are risen with Christ to walk in newness of life with him by his power. It declares our cleansing. Our walking in newness of life is proof that it has happened. If we have no walking in newness of life, then there's a big question as to whether it's happened. We don't really know. But yet, when we see a newness of life begin to develop, we know that something's happened. Like Newton, we are unable to cleanse ourselves of the spiritual leprous infection of sin. But Jesus can. He delivers me from the habitual sin. What I cannot break, he can. He is the bondage breaker. That's the glory of my Jesus. You see, indeed, we serve a glorious King. So speak his glory to someone today.